live on YouTube.
Okay, awesome. Should I go ahead and get started, or should I wait until?
Yeah, we'll give everybody a few minutes. I'll copy this like Zoom link into the YouTube as well. So if anyone's on YouTube and they want to join the Zoom, they can do that.
Sorry, I'm trying to bait somebody into buying a printer that I don't need.
That sounds important. Bait them though. Come on.
Well, everybody's looking for a deal, so they think that it's going to magically have ink in it and ready to go.
I just went ahead and shared the presentation in the chat just in case anyone wants to go back.
Oh, nice.
And look at it later. It should be anyone with a link should have access. So.
All right. It looks like we've got some people tuning in on YouTube. So hi, everybody. Say hi in the comments. I'm typing that as I say it.
Yeah, and do you mind just if anyone has any questions via YouTube? I mean, this is something where honestly, like if someone has questions whenever, like after any slide, you know, I'm not a hold questions to the end type person. So
cool. I'll be able to watch the comments and I'll just pop in if anyone has any questions. That sounds good. Cheyenne is here. Hey, Cheyenne. Do you want to come to the Zoom, Cheyenne? It's more fun. But you can do whatever. If you want to follow along in the comments, that is a-okay.
I mean, she can mute and like not show her video.
Yep, that's cool too. Okay, 7:59. Cool. So we'll give. She says no. Okay, she's not coming to the Zoom. That's fine. I'm not surprised. Yeah, we'll give everyone just a couple minutes to hop on. Let me send out some reminder text too. We need some like background music or something.
What do you want?
Oh, that's gonna make it happen.
Something like
I have got this. This is my setup.
Oh, Cheyenne says she can't get on the Zoom because she doesn't want to have to make a Zoom account, not because she is offended by us. So
I thought
that makes sense.
Didn't want to be with us.
It's not us, of course. Okay, it's 8 o'clock, so we're technically going. For anyone that is already tuning in, thanks so much for stopping by. This is Ashton, and we'll let her introduce herself in a second. But we are excited to be doing some creative writing this evening. Hey, Shay.
Hey.
How's it going?
I'm good. I'm just tired.
Yeah. I know. It's so freaking cold outside. It makes it like even more want to get snuggled up and cozy.
Here. I slept the whole day though. Literally.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get up until 4:30.
Well, then this should be like your afternoon.
Yep.
Okay, let me remind one more person that said they were coming.
Is that good? Can you hear it? No.
No,
I can sort of hear it, but not.
Cheyenne says this is the perfect weather for naps. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. I wanted to nap all day.
I stayed cuddled under the blankets and slept all day.
Am I good now? I don't.
We have someone else here and I can't tell who it is. Who is Layla? Do we know you?
I don't even see a Layla on here.
On the chat? On the
Well-
YouTube? Like,
Oh, only YouTube.
On YouTube. Oh, okay. I was about to say.
oh,
No,
it's-
Layla on
yeah.
here.
I figured it was code name.
Who's Layla?
Andrea. You
Oh,
want to do the Zoom, Andrea? Click that link if you do. Okay, here comes Georgie.
I actually wrote again early. Well, not earlier, but like last week again, Misty.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, Ashton, we've got several following along on YouTube. We've got Shay and Bree here with us on the Zoom. I think Andrea is going to come on the Zoom too, so I'll let her in here shortly. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and get going.
For sure. And I'm just gonna, I love presentations, so I made a presentation. But yeah, so tonight, so I'm hoping this can become a regular Wednesday night thing. And I made a survey at the end if anyone's interested in just giving me recommendations. Obviously, I want to talk about what y'all want to hear. But tonight, I thought we would just do some basic creative and expressive personal writing tips and just how to get started. As someone who has tried to keep a journal throughout her life and has a habit of every 2 weeks crumbling everything up and throwing it away, I finally broke that. So hopefully I can share some tips. And yeah, so as already said, I'm Ashton, and I am currently an environmental reporter for the Arkansas Democrat Gazette newspaper, and I have about 8 years of journalist experience in newspaper and magazine writing, but I also love writing poetry and fiction. So yeah, just really anything writing is up my alley. So, and I also am a fan of GIFs, as you'll see. So yes, and if in any point in this, I don't have too many slides. If anyone has any questions via Zoom or the YouTube chat, just feel free. I can answer anything along the way if anything's not clear or whatnot. But yeah, so first of all, why write? Some people fall in love with it at a young age, and some people find it tedious, but writing, there's writing for other people's enjoyment, and then there's writing for yourself, and I really want to focus on that last one, writing for yourself, today. And writing can help you focus. Writing has always been there for me if I'm angry or frustrated. Just writing that down, it's a little bit of a release. It's almost like you're taking these thoughts and putting them on paper, and it can, also act as a way to I'm skipping around here, but understand those feelings. You might get in the zone and start writing and then read what you wrote and be like, wow, that is how I feel. And, just seeing it, outside of your mind on paper really helps process. And also, as I've finally learned, it's good to, if you want, keep that writing for later. It's a good way to capture that moment, those feelings you have, and preserve those memories. And, you might hate it you know, a month from now, but you know, when you look back at it, if you want to keep like, you know, an actual journal, I've looked back at journals from 10 years ago, and it's just cool to see, you know, the person you were and how you've changed. So there's a lot of reasons to write personal writing, and it's not something you have to commit to every day, even, you know, just whenever you have a thought you want to write down. Let me see, how do I skip? Okay. Anyway, so these are, you know, 4 authors, and the first 2 are, you know, really big heroes of mine, but, you know, I really want to talk about just getting started with writing. And, you know, as Stephen King puts it, which I totally agree, the scariest moment is just before you start, that blank page where you're like, okay, I'm going to write, like, what the heck am I going to put down? But when you have something to say, you know, it's a weight. And the only way to release that sometimes is writing it down, or sharing it with a friend. But sometimes, especially in COVID, you know, maybe you don't have anyone to talk to in that moment. Writing it down can, you know, be a way to release emotions and thoughts as well.
Can I say something?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a writer myself, and actually it's kind of funny. Sometimes I like, if I'm like super depressed or angry or something and I go to write, at first I can totally agree with that statement. The scariest moment is before you start. Because like, honestly, once I start, it just flows out so easily. It's weird. Like, it's just like, I don't even stop in the middle of my writing. I can literally just write for hours upon hours, just straight, just going through. But right before I start, it's like, what the heck am I going to write? What should I say? How is this going to go? That.
Yeah, exactly. I totally hear you. That's exactly how I am too. And, you know, even if you're not writing about something, I don't know, even if you're writing like fiction or whatnot, you know, Lloyd Alexander's quote, fantasy isn't an escape from reality. It's a way to understand it. You know, even if you're maybe writing about how you feel, but, you know, maybe in a story, you know, with animals or fantasy characters, you know, it's still a way of expressing yourself. And if you are writing, you know, about yourself or a moment you experience, you know, it's a way to relive that moment and have that retrospective, you know, time to process it that you don't have in the moment. So I just wanted to share those quotes. I'm big on quotes. Sorry.
Do you ever have a moment where like, oh man, I don't forget the question. Like, sorry, I forgot it. If I think of it again,
yeah, just let me know if you think of it again. Well, and so, you know, when you were talking about those thoughts just flowing, you know, I find that even though this is like really old school, but, you know, actually writing, you know, with like paper and a pen or pencil, you know, it helps that creativity. And there's actually a lot of studies to back up, you know, that it gets your brain working harder and your creative juices flowing. And if you're like me, who types every day, for, you know, I type really fast, and sometimes when you write, it makes you slow down a little bit and just think, you know, about the words you're using and what you're saying. So I encourage anyone, you know, if you want to get started in writing, or you know, maybe you've tried writing, just typing, and it's not really working for you, maybe change it up, you know. That being said, I also a lot of times have ideas spur of the moment, and maybe I don't have a piece of paper with me, and I just like have written poems and little thoughts down, you know, in my phone and my notes as well. So it's really whatever you have handy when you feel inspired. And you know, that's kind of going to the next slide. Don't fear the blank page, as as one of the quotes mentioned. You know, carrying around a notebook with you just in case, or, you know, obviously you got your phone. If you have a phone, you know, with a notes section, you can use that. But I also encourage people, if you're having trouble, you know, you feel like you're just listing out what happened in the day or whatnot, you know, wait maybe until you're a little bit tired, because there's actually, you know, there's some creative moment in that time period where you're not like ready to fall asleep, but you're kind of tired. I don't know, some of the best writing I've done comes from that kind of time period. or even the middle of the night, sometimes the very best ideas, you hear about artists, musicians all the time having their best song lyrics come to them like in the middle of the night or a dream. So keep something by a pen and paper by your bed, and if another good thing to do is, set a timer, and it really kind of puts the pressure on just to kind of stream of consciousness, right? And if needed, look for inspiration in writers you like, or, even Google some prompts, and I got some later on as well. And I'm just going to stop here. Is there any questions that I can answer?
I remember my question now.
Okay, yeah.
Now let me turn my video on. Do you ever lose track of time when you're writing?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's one of the few times, personal writing, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's one of the few times I do lose track, because normally I feel like there's a clock in my brain, but sometimes, yeah, when I'm writing, it's kind of like I'm, in a different world, in a different zone. So
what inspired you to start writing?
Well, I've always written, just as like a kid, I was kind of a little bit of, I had friends, but I was a little bit of a loner, introverted, and I just loved spending time writing. And, some of it was like just ideas I had about the world, or, I was really into science. So not all of it was like my feelings, but some of it was, if I had a hard time and I wasn't sure who to talk to.
Do I have what? Wait.
I think she moved to someone else. We did have a comment from YouTube. It was Cheyenne saying that she likes to write about gods from different mythologies.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
She says, and my biggest fear is not finding the place to properly research them. Which I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, I would encourage you, I don't know if you already have like a library card, and there's a lot of stuff you can even access online, but they also have pickup, if you, have a car or have someone who can take you to the library, with COVID and everything, you can even check out the books, and then there's like a drive-through. So they have a lot of stuff in there. And the cool thing about, if you're writing about different gods from different cultures, I think that's a thing that a lot of people are interested in. Even myself, I was obsessed with Greek mythology growing up. Yeah, so I think there's, either your local library, or, even online, there's a lot of material. And, the cool thing about all just Greek and Roman like gods, if you're interested in that, or even other ones, but there's a lot more like human element and like feelings and emotions and, all that kind of stuff that goes into each of the gods and goddesses. So even writing about that, can be a form of, self-expression, I think. So anyways, yeah.
Sorry about that. I thought my mic was off. Somebody stopped me outside. Yeah, somebody stopped me outside.
Yeah, no.
Speaking of which, talking about the library card, for those that don't know, we had Catherine from CALS on our class earlier today. Definitely go and check that out if you haven't seen it. But she works with the Central Library System. And she was encouraging anybody who needs a library card to get down there. And she is expressing that if you owe fines, that's perfectly fine. You'll still be able to do things like use the computer. And they'll actually, it sounds like they're willing to work with people who have fines to get those paid off so that they can get back in there and check out those books.
Yeah, because I own fines. That's what my next question was, is I own fines, but I love to read, and I own like $80, and I can't get a book right now because I owe $80.
So yeah, absolutely. So, and this isn't, not to take away from kind of what we are currently talking about, but, just if that's a thought in the back of your mind, don't let that stop you. Just get with us later and we can get you connected so that you can take care of that.
Okay, thank you, Ed.
Yeah, no. the people at the library system, yeah, they're awesome, and I'm constantly in there asking for what probably seems like really random and slightly obscure things because I love researching different subjects. And yeah, there's a lot of good material there. And even if they don't have something at that library, you know, they can search around and request it for you. So yeah, they're super helpful. And then, you know, kind of going back, you know, to the more personal writing, you know, just things to keep in mind, you know, writing continuously, you know, is a really good, like I mentioned, like that kind of stream of consciousness. But that also goes for, you know, if, you know, you're going to get better at something, you're going to get more comfortable with something if you continue doing it over time as well. So, and I'm sorry. And then the second one is, you know, just, you know, you can decide if you're writing only for yourself, you know, and like I said, you know, it's great to have writing around to reflect on, but I mean, you know, I used to do, you know, just like write something and get it out and then like crumble it and throw it in the trash. And it was kind of a way of like releasing and letting go of something too. So, you know, just, you can decide that for yourself, but, you know, something else that's really helped me is just writing like I talk, and some of my friends who are some of the best writers when it comes to that more expressive personal writing, you know, I can just hear their voice. And, you know, a way to do that, you know, if you want to like read it out loud afterwards, if you're looking for that. But yeah, you don't have to use, just use the words, you know, and the phrases and, you know, there's the way that you talk, you know. If you're like me and you tend to ramble, you know, don't worry about how many commas you have in a sentence. You can have one sentence that takes up the whole page if that's how you write, you know. I mean, Tolkien did it. So, and then, you know, the observe, flip out rule. Basically, if you find yourself getting too emotional while writing about a subject, you know, just stop or switch topics, you know, just, you know, try to, you can lose yourself, but I think it's good to, you know, check in while you're writing, especially if you're writing about something really emotional. You know, you don't have to get it all out on page. You can write 2 sentences that just express your thoughts in the moment, you know. You don't have to get into details. And again, this is for yourself, you know, just, and then the expect heavy boots. Sometimes I feel, especially if I'm, you know, writing something that's very personal and expressive, you know, there's kind of a feeling of release, but also kind of like feeling down a little bit after writing it. Like, man, that was like emotionally heavy. And, you know, that usually goes away like pretty quickly, like in an hour or so. But, you know, don't feel like, oh man, this is making it worse or something. If, you know, you are writing about something heavy, something personal, you know, just, you know, kind of be prepared for that. And of course, when you're expressing yourself, writing about yourself, it could just be happy. It could just be, you know, something, you know, that make like you're grateful for that day, or something cool someone did for you or you did for someone else. You know, it doesn't have to be negative. So, and then keeping it up, like I said, if you want to toss it away as soon as you write it, that's, you know, sometimes very helpful too, but it's also really cool to, you know, keep it up. And, you know, I suggest if you want to reread it right after you wrote it, that's great. Personally, I don't like doing that. You know, I just like writing it and getting it out. And then maybe like a few weeks later, you know, whenever I want to come back to it. And I find that it's easier to be more kind to myself, you know, if I get some distance between my writing, especially if it's anything that I might actually want to share with someone else. You know, to be hypercritical if I read it like right afterwards or a day afterwards. So that's just me. And then, oh yeah.
Sorry. Is it okay, like, say for instance, instead of crumbling it away, like say you have like a notebook where you like let out all your feelings, and then like you want to read it like 5 years from now, like put it in an envelope and say, I'm going to read this 5 years from now or a year from now, just to see, like, not necessarily how far you come as a writer, but how far you came from say like out of depression or
Yeah.
out of like SI or anything like that, you know how far you came from that specific day.
No, I mean, I think that's great. And that's what I actually encourage anyone to do. You know, I'm just saying there's not a wrong way. But yeah, what you said, I mean, I think that's great. And the things I have kept around, like I said, looking back at what I wrote a decade ago, you know, because there's such distance, I can overlook the spelling mistakes and the grammar errors. And I just see, you know, a younger girl like struggling and like, but still having, you know, these deeper thoughts, and some things I'm still struggling with, and some things, you know, I've figured out, and it's good to have that look back, if that's the right phrase. But yeah, so what you're saying, yeah, I mean, I advise anyone to do that, even if you have to seal it up in an envelope and like write down the date you're going to read it. I mean, but yeah, so, and then I have some prompts. If what time we at? Okay, we're doing good on time. If anyone wants to do this, I'm not going to ask anyone to share what they wrote, and you do not have to use these prompts. It could just be if you had something interesting happen to you today or something you've just been dwelling on. I'm just going to take a minute right now, if it's good with everyone, and just ask y'all to kind of write stream of consciousness. And what I mean by that is, you know, just once you get an idea in your head, just if you have a pen and paper or you have your phone or computer, just start with that idea and just go from there. You know, it doesn't matter what you write down. It's just keeping, you know, your pen and thoughts moving. And sometimes you'll surprise yourself. So the two prompts I have, you know, is one, just kind of thinking about your favorite spot. I've been doing this a lot with COVID. You know, can't go to some of my favorite places, you know, haven't gotten to see my favorite bands in concert, you know, but, you know, or go on vacation with my family. So think about a favorite spot you have, you know, describe it like you would, you know, paint a picture, you know, all the details, conversations you had with people there, you know, describe how you feel when you're there. And sorry, I got a spelling error there, typo. But, you know, and the other one I have, maybe if you're feeling this one, you know, remembering someone you lost. And it could be, you know, it could be someone who passed away, but it could be someone maybe you used to be friends with or used to be close with, and y'all drifted apart or something happened, and just kind of, you know, reflecting on that for a minute. You know, what kind of feelings come up when you think of them, and, you know, describing a place that, you know, y'all were at together, even writing some dialogue. So anyways, y'all can, y'all can obviously see that. So I'm going to start the timer right now for just a minute. So yeah. And like I said, you don't have to write about either of these if you don't want to, just whatever comes to mind. So, okay, I'm starting the timer, and I'm going to do it too. Okay, well, that was a minute, and just to let y'all know, I got about 3 sentences down. And so, you know, if y'all are writing by yourself later, you know, I would encourage you to maybe do a little bit longer, but maybe you got, you know, some thoughts going, and you can go back to them after this. But yeah, you know, I think a good thing, you know, maybe 10 minutes if you're really trying to write down some stuff. You know, and it kind of, when you have a timer, it kind of like, you know, just, it's that little bit of push, to just write down what you're thinking, you know, because you know you only have limited time. But like I said, there's no wrong way, you know, if the timing puts too much pressure, just you don't have to do that. But it's also nice to be like, okay, you know, this is just the time I set aside, 15 minutes to write, or 10 minutes or 20 minutes. And yeah, and you know, this is something, and I've shared the slides with you, so you know, if y'all want to read that, but this is just an example I wanted to share about something, you know, I mentioned earlier about things that just come to mind randomly, and you always want to have that piece of paper around if you're wanting to write things down, because this actually came to me a culmination. It's a poem. I'm not claiming to be a good poet, by the way, but it's a poem that came to me, a culmination of some stuff I was processing in my personal life, along with the inauguration poem. You know, and I was literally just doing yoga one night, and the words started coming to me. And so, you know, I had to like grab my phone and type it out. And then I ended up, you know, writing it down, and it's just like a letter to my future self, you know, and that's just how it came to mind. Sometimes I even write in forms of like Facebook posts that I never intend to post. You know, it's kind of like a letter to someone you never intend to send. But yeah, so any form that helps you. And then that is pretty much it. I have a thank you slide. And the link on the bottom, I don't know if we can share that on YouTube, but it's just, I think there's 3 or 4 questions just about, you know, if y'all enjoyed this at all, if there's specific writing topics y'all want to hear about. You know, I had thought about, I do know some people who are like, I'm more of nonfiction writer and journalism, but I do know some published authors in poetry and fiction, as well as nonfiction books. So if, you know, if y'all are more interested in it and professionally, I can bring people on like that, you know, or if, you know, people want more stuff like this or more maybe like technical writing, yeah, I'm open for it. I don't want anything to feel like, you know, a class with homework or anything, but yeah, whatever y'all want to hear, you can fill out that form. There's a spot to literally just put any suggestions you want. There's no wrong suggestions. And yeah, let me stop sharing.
Are we allowed to read kind of what we wrote in that minute?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to read it, for sure.
Okay, I only got like maybe a paragraph, so it's not much, but
Oh yeah, I got 3 sentences.
I said I went with the one like, what's something that's troubling your life right now, or something kind of like that. And all I said was, sometimes I find myself lost. My mind, 1 second, sorry. Oh, my phone almost fell. Sometimes I find myself lost. My mind and the thoughts that surround me can take control. Living in hard times is my life in one sentence. I try to outlook on the positive, and sometimes I succeed, but other days my life seems out of control. Being homeless, being depressed, and my health taking control, I feel like I'm underwater. I want to be okay, but I remind myself it's okay not to be okay, but it's also okay to be okay. Giving up isn't an option, but living is everything. I always go with my motto, chaos doesn't make you, mistakes don't define you, and your past or trauma you endured have no control over you. Just be an overcomer.
Yeah.
That's all I wrote. Sorry.
No, that was a lot more than I got. Of course, I was writing with a pen, so it's a lot slower.
You write that much in a minute.
Yeah, that's a lot. You were typing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, man, fast writing, if not. But no, and I love what you said. And I'm glad a lot of more people are realizing, like, you know, it's like okay to not be okay. I think, you know, this is kind of getting off topic from just writing, but you know, I think people realizing that there is such a thing as like toxic positivity, where people are just like, no, you're fine, everything's good. And, you know, sometimes, I mean, that's another, you know, writing is another good time to just realize, hey, I'm not okay, but like processing that and putting, you know, what you're going through on paper. I mean, as well, you know, reaching out to people as well helps, but yeah, someone who's kind of a loner kid, like I said, you know, writing definitely got me through some of those tough times as well. But yeah, is there One's about 30 minutes. So, but yeah, is there any other things from YouTube? Sorry, I don't have it pulled up, so I don't know.
No, you're good. So we don't have any other questions on YouTube, but thanks everyone that was following along there. Yeah, this was
Are we able to
awesome.
stay in control? Are we able to stay like into touch with you? Sorry, I don't know your name.
Ash,
Ashton, like
Yeah.
without having to do it just on Zoom.
Yeah. Here, I'll put my email address. So yeah, if y'all ever want to send me, I mean, I'll be honest. I work a lot. So if you want to send me something to read, I do that for some of my friends too. I'd be happy to just I apologize if I don't respond immediately. I'll just let y'all know that up front. But I'll put my email in the chat, and then I also put the Google form, just the quick survey about what you guys might want to hear from in the future, or from me in the future regarding writing. So
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. I thought it was kind of funny how you said you work for the newspaper with National Gazette. Is that what it's called?
the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, it's the state newspaper.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Yesterday I was walking because I'm on crutches because I tore my ACL, and I was crossing the crosswalk, and somebody from the newspaper took a picture of me crossing the crosswalk, and he stopped me and asked me for my name and asked me if he can put me in the newspaper. And I was like, sure. It was kind of, I don't know, it just happened out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, cool.
you're a
Yeah.
star.
Yeah.
You're gonna be famous.
Well, awesome. Well, cool. How do y'all usually wrap up these classes, or
Awkwardly and
awkwardly?
just like
Awesome.
this.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. same time. Like Ashton said, if you have any suggestions, if there's anything that you want to see in this class, you can fill out that Google form that's in the chat, or you can text me, call me, email me, you know the drill. I'm easy to get a hold of. Because we definitely want this to be a time where you guys get to enjoy what's going on. That's what it's for. Andrea, so happy to see you. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, it was a lot going on, you know. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. But yeah, it was very interesting. I'm not really a writer. I'm more of like a reader.
I think we lost your audio. We can't hear you. Yes, Shay, this class does count towards the 3 classes a week to get that $25 gift card to anywhere you want. Andrea, we can't hear you at all. It's a fuzzy mess.
Sorry.
There you are.
My bad.
Okay.
But I like getting to know writers' minds just because I am a reader, and I like to get to know how people think and stuff. So it was a really interesting class.
Awesome.
You enjoyed it.
Very good. Well, we hope to see every single one of you back here next week. Thanks so much. And we will tell you good night. Have a great rest of your week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks.